people in the millennial generation don't realize the problems we are facing right now or the problems we will encounter in the future. Like how competition for the job market is always rising, and the lack of experience we gained in our learning careers. So I'm here to give a little insight and try and inform you guys about the problems that we are seeing today or in the future. So first of all, the millennial generation is the largest and most educated generation. And based on information on David Kent's Millennials on Track article published on March of 2015, it stated that in the 1960s, 12% of men and 7% of women at least obtained a bachelor's degree, and now it's increased by 10% in men and 20% in women. So this puts the millennial generation at over 25% of us are obtaining at least a bachelor's degree. And why is this relevant? Because this leads to a supply and demand problem. We all learned about supply and demand in economics. The supply for educated workers is much higher than the demand for them in the workforce. And this leads to unemployment, underemployment, and just flat out flusteredness. And college and throughout life, there's different aspects that help us prepare for the workforce. But this brings me to my next part on how the millennial generation faces a huge lack of experience needed for the workforce. So talked about in the article, Millennials Need Real Work Experience, published by the Chicago Tribune on May of 2014. It said that over 65% of companies stated that colleges and high schools these days don't only somewhat prepare these students for the workforce, and over 60% of these students and these recent graduates also agree with that they said they weren't prepared fully for the workforce. It's kind of like a two-way street consensus on the student and the employer. Both believe the millennial generation lack basic necessary experience needed to apply themselves in the workforce. Experiences such as being challenged or taking new routes that you usually wouldn't take. Employers want individuals who have intentionally invested in opportunities to provide them a platform to stand out. And most millennials these days, if they get asked the question, what challenges did you face in the past? Most of us are going to respond with, oh, the super hard exam in organic chemistry, or how hard Amy grades our speeches in public speaking, or even how I maintained my impressive 4.0 GPA, which in reality, only 2% of large businesses and companies use GPA as a primary factor in the hiring process. So in conclusion, I hope I opened some of my fellow millennials' eyes about the problems we are facing today, and the problem, hopefully I maybe somewhat prepared you for the problems we could face in the future. And just a little advice for everyone, for me too, always challenge yourself, always take the hard route, even if the easy route is right there. Make yourself adapt to new situations, and always grasp an opportunity when it comes by.